So we're going to be making a Rene's potato frittata. We start off, of course, safety first, wash our hands. Put that hair tie over there. Alright. So you're just going to require some of your measurements, your cups, your table and teaspoons, potato peeler, your sharpener, your knife, a whisk for your eggs, salt, seasonal, pepper, little parm, your marinara for later. And it says in the recipe for clarified butter, bacon, potatoes, let's see, your scallions, garlic, and onion. So what we're going to do, you wash these. I've washed them previously. So you're going to peel these guys. Oops, wrong one. You're going to want about 1 1/4 quart of potatoes diced. And you're gonna need to not crush them, like pulverize them, but kind of press down on your knife to get the peeling off. So it's all about just the prep part at the moment. I'm going to show you how to dice these potatoes. And then I'll get back to you when these two potatoes are done. So these are peeled. I'm going to put the scraps here. Then at an angle to make sure you just do it a few times. And if you do it almost every time you do this, you're gonna keep it really nice and sharp. So you wanna hold it, try to get it to be like at a good square. Hold it correctly. Make sure it stays at a good square. Then you're gonna cut down, let the knife do its work. And how it's able to stand so easily is because you get it in a flat surface. Then you're gonna cut 3 ways. You can just do it 2 ways, but I feel like if it's slightly small, it'll help cook easier. Then you're gonna dice to make an even squares. And if you see slight rectangle, you can always cut it. So you're going to come up with these little squares. I like this one in particular. Looks even all around. So I'll get back to you when the rest of the potatoes are chopped. Okay, so I don't like to waste, but this is how it's going to look. And the recipe requires 1 1/4 quart, but you want enough to fill this almost, like all around. So I don't like to waste, and I don't have any other type of recipes I could possibly use this for since it's not enough. So I'm gonna give this a good dice too, and then we're gonna end up showing you how to like cut some onion, which requires let's see, 1 cup. You're gonna need 1 cup of diced onion, which with this size onion, I'm guessing it's equivalent, maybe a little over. And that's why you take your trusty measuring cup to do the measuring for you. But if you want to go by the recipe for the potato, for the 1 1/4 quart, remember 4 cups is let's see, yep, 4 cups is a quart. And then I'm almost finished. I have to do it with the bigger slices since it's slightly thinner, just to make those squares. Almost there. With this one, you're gonna cut into like 4, like the edges. If it's, yeah. So it's not all gonna be a perfect square when it comes to the scraps, but I just prefer not to waste. There we go. And when you are holding them off, because you're gonna have to cook your bacon first, you want to soak them in water so it doesn't turn brown. And then once you're ready, you're gonna drain them, and then put them into the pan. I have to start off my pan. Alright, so you're gonna take a nice onion, cut the edge, put this into the thing. Then you're going to cut down, keep the stem on because it'll help you in the long run. I'm going to get rid of that. Then you're going to peel the skin. And if you don't make sure you get all of it, there's like this very slight layer that's very slippery, which will result in you getting your hands cut. So you have to make sure all that top skin is off. And then you're going to make some incisions because it requires a cup, and you want them diced. You want to kind of make a middle incision, let the knife do the work. Get rid of these little scraps so it's not in your pile of nice diced onion. These two are going to hold the sides, the rest is going to hold the top. And you're going to and if you feel like it's not diced enough, then you can always do a quick chop around. Hold this off. With these little guys, if it's a strand left, you just kind of graze over it a little so you don't have any um, inconsistencies, especially when you have to work in a restaurant, especially fine dining, because they want consistency. Alright. So we're going to measure that to make sure we have just the right amount. You're going to use every last bit if you can. As for the other side of the onion, it'll be good for good use, like if you want to use it for like a sauteed or grilled onions for a burger, or just raw onion for a salad. So that's like the possibility of what you can use for your onion if you don't have exactly like anything to do with the other half. So this is about a cup, like out of the halves of that size onion. Put it off to the side. Then you're gonna need 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, which you need to clear this off a bit. Alright, so you're gonna tap to peel. It has a few layers, kind of like how onions do with its peeling, for what I can see. And it's peeling quite nicely. And then, let's see, almost there. And like any previous video you saw, this hard part here, you're going to want to trim that off because it'll be hard to cook. And just a little tip here. Alright, so you're going to start slicing them. Then you're going to take it, do a rough chop to get them minced. Alright, so that is, 2 teaspoons. Alright, so we're going to take these guys. That's 1/4 teaspoon right here. Alright, this is about 1. So let's keep that right here to make sure the other part would be making it the total equivalent of 2. There we go. Alright, repeat the process of trimming the tip and the side that won't be needed. Kind of slice. Kind of mince it. That thing was about to escape. Depending on the size of the clove, will give you almost a teaspoon. This and the leftover of the first clove Makes it almost a teaspoon. So you got almost 2 tablespoons here. Now for the fun part, we get to handle meat. So I'm going to move this to the side. I'm going to put this in here in a bigger one so that way I can transfer it. Since I don't have my own personal little cups to place them in. Alright. Now we're gonna rinse this off with veggies and stuff. Oop. Let's get that. And a bowl. I'll use another mixing bowl. Sometimes people put salt on this. Some people just don't. Alright, so cold water. And if you're cautious about starch a little too much, you can always rinse it. Because I don't like too much starch, but just enough. So, to keep its color, you're going to keep it in water, and then you're going to place this in the fridge to keep it cool. There we are. Remember, veggies go on the very top shelf, meats go in the bottom, the chicken at the very bottom. Okay, so, bacon. Nice thick cut of bacon. So we're going to take 4 pieces of bacon for what the recipe calls 3, 4. Alright, so we're going to cut down the middle and let the knife do the work if it's sharp enough. Sometimes the fat likes to trip you up a bit. Kind of do little incisions if needs be, because this is a very fatty type of bacon. So, I'm gonna dice these babies. Just take your time. They're gonna slip inside, of course, because of the bacon fat. And then, once you're done dicing them, you're going to, well, kind of chop, not really dice, but I say dice because it still comes out of squares for me a little. All that fat is going to give you that nice little grease for your potatoes, because who doesn't love bacon fat or bacon grease for any of their recipes? Like, you can use bacon grease for collard greens, your red beans, any type of beans you do, like navy beans. Even some people put pieces of bacon in their recipes. Okay. So you're going to do that. And then you also gonna use a half cup of scallions. Let's wash this properly since it was washed with the hot soapy water. Rinse. And dry. Be careful when you're drying it by hand because you don't want to nick yourself. So, moving this aside and rewashing this thing. We have to cut our scallions, which I should have done before doing bacon, but let's just say I'm slightly eager to cut bacon. Makes it morning time for me. Alright, so what you're going to do is you get rid of the really wimpy kind of little guys, because that means it's on the verge of dying. Trim the tip. That is dead already. I'm gonna put this together. I'm gonna do a little roll cut. Kind of moving a little, but that's okay. You just gotta be slightly careful, and you keep on going until it gets to the really, really white bulb. Some people use the white bulb as like a slight garnish or put it in their recipes, but I think we'll just stick without the bulb. If needs be, if we need a little more for the half cup, then we can easily just chop that. So we're going to take this half cup here. It's got my eyes watering. Almost there. It's about a half cup. Let me see. So the bigger, whiter parts, for what I can tell, I'm going to try a little to see if it will be good for the green, because we all tried the green. But I haven't really tried the bulb part. Okay. Gives it more of a slight intense flavor. But that'll be good, because it's only a very tiny bit anyway. So I'm just going to mince it just slightly. Well, not mince it, but kind of coarse it. Well, it's almost close. I rather try to get almost exact and use every part of everything if needs be. And that's almost a full half cup. Half cup right there. Then you're gonna get rid of this. Boom. Rinse our hands. Now time to get this going. So it says 2 tablespoons. So I'm gonna put this garlic back right here. Rinse this for the butter. Well, wash it so you don't get garlic in the butterfly butter for the next recipe. And my soapy water is pretty much very hot because I prefer to wash with hot water. But since the bacon's going to give us any grease, I'll alter it by doing at least half a tablespoon so we can save the rest for the next recipe. We're going to put that in there, set this aside, turn this on. You don't want to put it too high, because what you're going to do is put your bacon in and you want it to cook slowly so it produces more grease and not burn it. So you're going to kind of separate that a little, just a tad with the spatula, which I'll be washing this as well. But what we're supposed to do is let it do its work. It's kind of slightly stuck, so I'm going to let it heat up more. And when it heats up, it'll separate from the pan a little, and you're able to like stir it up slightly. And we'll get back to you when it starts to brown. Alright, so it's starting to brown a little, and it's separated. This pan is starting to get hot right there, so I'm going to use my trusty kitty mitten. Alright, so you're going to you don't want to do it too high like this. They kind of turn it a little. And then once it gets brown enough, I'll go ahead and take the bacon off, save the grease, and then I'll show you what to do with the bacon grease. Potatoes, need to dry it just a tiny bit, because if you're mixing it with bacon, I'm going to turn that down a little. Yeah, you're going to have to turn that down quite a bit, because if there's still some moisture, it'll get just like a little. And it's because it's cold that it's going to give this type of reaction as well when you put it against hot oil. So you're going to turn it up just a tad, still let it cook through, and then you're going to do the same method, kind of spread the bacon grease all through the potatoes. And then once it starts softening, I'm going to go ahead, like when it gets to slight light brown, gonna add your onions, and so we'll get back to you as soon as it starts browning a bit. Alright, so it's starting to get a little nice brown color. The potatoes are starting to soften. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put all of this lovely onions in there so it can cook with it. And then you're gonna toss it about more. Rather make sure I get every little onion. And lower it a little. That nice smell of potatoes and onions in the morning. So when it starts to brown a little more, all over, if it can, and the onion starts to set in, like soften, then I'll incorporate the other ingredients. So we'll get back to it. Alright, so the onions are softened, the potatoes getting more brown. We're gonna put our bacon. Get it all even around so we can have the bacon at every bite. Then we're going to take our garlic, put that in there, and scallions, let that cook, and then we're also going to put, so we're going to put, let's see, 1 teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of black pepper, and 1 tablespoon of seasonal, and 1/4 cup of Parmesan. So we're going to let this cook a little, do a little flip action. Kind of stir it a little. Stir it a little more. So it's kind of incorporated all over. And then while that's cooking, then we're going to set this aside. It requires 8 eggs, but I know it takes 4 eggs for the next dish. So we're going to crack 6 eggs instead. So I'd rather try to make sure I do enough for a recipe, since 2 of my recipes, this and another one, requires a certain amount.